Hello again, everybody! Welcome back to another episode of Organic Minecraft. I'm Mr. McSquare, and this time we're in the void. The end. The end where the dragon lived and will live again. So yeah, we're doing some work on the void. This is the fountain at the center of the void, and I've just made a pathway over to the portal that you receive when the dragon's beaten. And as you can see, I've been harvesting the obsidian pillars for the resources that they are. Because if you resummon the dragon, these pillars get restored, and then you got a whole wealth of obsidian to dig into again. The dragon itself will fly around and destroy every block except for obsidian and the end stone. There's a couple other things it won't destroy, like beacons, but who the heck's gonna make a road out of beacons? Not me. So I think that the dragon will destroy the end stone, but just end blocks it leaves alone, because that's what the island itself is made of. End blocks and obsidian, and then as we get farther away, we can start constructing things. And this is yet another gas port. So flying around, surrounded by the void, made a little pathway out, and this is only 2 blocks tall, so that the Enderman can't be on the bridge. You can see there's nothing down there. There's nothing there. Look away. Look away. Don't stare too long into the void. It'll stare back at you. So what I really want to do today is I want to build underneath the dragon spawning area. And in order to effectively do that, I wanted to ride a happy ghast. And, well, if I'm going to ride a happy ghast in the void, I need somewhere to park the sucker when I'm not using it. So I made these chambers here. It's basically just like my happy ghast port that I made in the overworld, but in the end. And for a theme, I made sure that I just used end stone, and I'll put a purple roof on it later to match the end city constructions that you come across. And for lighting, well, I've got so many sea lanterns. And the sea lantern kind of has like a sci-fi feel to it. So on top of the path, underneath us is the too high walkway, but walking on top so that you can see better. You can see I've got the happy ghasts, hydrated them up. They didn't stay in their little chambers. Apparently they can get through this 1x1 door when they're in their juvenile stage. One guy was nice enough to stay in there and grow up, but the other ones, they just floated right on out. Like it wasn't even there. That's okay, we adapt. Just rodeoed them up and leashed them down to some posts. And then once they are grown up, we can just fly around. Now this takes a lot of the risk out, because underneath me is nothing but void. But with the happy ghast, I can float around and do some construction down at the bottom. Bit hard to see here, but underneath the dragon spawning area, those obsidian pillars actually go right down to height 0. Like we're at height 4 here, and the void actually chews you up at, I think it's -30 or -40. That's where the void exists, and the end will just dissolve you. It doesn't matter what you're carrying, it'll be gone forever. But you can build at height 0. That's the lowest level you can build. You can't build below it. And these pillars go down to 0, and then they stop. And underneath it is like a 30 block gap, and then the void that will just dissolve you and destroy you. I'm just a guy. Mistakes happen. Actually, mistakes happened a lot. So down there in the void, you can see I've got nothing again, and I've I've got my spawn right in the fortress, right by the end portal. So even though I died, and actually in the construction of this project I died 6 times. That's 6 times I lose all the gear I've got into the void. It's not the Enderman beat me up. It's they were construction errors, whether my finger came off the crouch button or I walked a little too far, but yeah, it's a good thing I got a starting base, because I had to reset my equipment 6 times. I'm not perfect, but I am stubborn. So rather than retrieve the happy ghast all the time and then find some place to park them down here, I just made a scaffolding entryway. And you can see down here I'm working on a platform. I'm standing on height 1, which means the obsidian underneath me is height 0. And obsidian is a non-spawnable block. No monsters spawn on obsidian, just as if it was a half slab or something else, but it has to do with light levels. There's reasons, but the bottom line is monsters don't spawn on obsidian. So if I make an obsidian platform down here, it's spawn proof. I don't have to worry about Enderman populating this area. And 3 reasons that I went with obsidian. One is, look, there's these obsidian pillars that I'm digging up, and it gives me a wealth of obsidian to make the floor with. And 2 is, if I'm building down here and I accidentally dig too far down, I don't want to smash the brick underneath me, because I'm also adding a beacon here. And I don't want to accidentally dig my way through the bottom and wind up in the void. But a beacon's really going to help me with harvesting obsidian in the future. Just speed up my digging a whole lot. And I wasn't 100% sure. I wasn't sure if this was going to work or not, but it does. This is 0, right underneath the fountain that the dragon spawns on, and darn it, it worked. It worked. So glad it worked, because I didn't know. And it gives it a funky effect. The beacon light goes right through the bedrock. Who knew? Who knew? Well, now I know, but who knew before that? And that's great. And I'm gonna add more beacons to it later, so that when I respawn the dragon, I've actually got the full beacon boost to smash the dragon. And that's just gonna be, oh, get out of the way. It's getting photobombed by Enderman. Yeah, so I'll have the full beacon boost to fight the dragon, because I want to open up all the maximum number of portals. You can see underneath I've got my platform, and up above I put the purple roof onto the gas shack. Gas themselves, when they're fully grown, are 4x4. So you're not going to fit them into a 4x4 space. You're going to need like 4.5. They will fit 4 wide, but their heads, I think they need about 4.5. Let's call them 4x4.5. And they got their little legs hanging down below, and so on and so on. So those chambers, they're identical to the ones I built in the overworld. They're just using purple and end stone, whereas in the overworld I was using regular stone and spruce wood. And here we used oak trapdoors, whereas in the overworld I used spruce. But otherwise they're the same. And man, I hate this palette. I think it's ugly, but it matches the end cities. Purple, end stone, magenta glass. Oh, hard on the eyes, but it feels like it belongs here. And a framework of obsidian below. I do like using the obsidian, because when you've got super tools and you're going a little too quick, sometimes you chop something you didn't mean to chop. At least the obsidian will take the chop, and unless you're dedicated to remove the obsidian, it's not going to accidentally be pickaxed away. Okay, and show you that there's like the trap door at the top of 5, and I'm riding a happy gas. Yep, the sucker fits. There, he's in his 4x4 hole, and he's actually got 4.5 or 4 3/4 space above his head. And he's locked in, and because he's a happy gas, he stays happy. There you are, nothing but the void down there. Don't stare too long, it'll look back at you. So the full quote from Nietzsche is actually about when fighting monsters, be careful not to become the monster, right? When fighting monsters, it's like staring into the abyss. If you stare long enough, it's going to stare back at you. That's a paraphrase. I'll put the actual quote up in a moment here. There it is. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm taking that as a lesson that even though I fell in the abyss 6 times, I didn't let that setback consume me. That's the whole reason I've got my starter base. My starter base lets me get my equipment and tools back up and running. And even though, like, yeah, it sucks to lose your stuff, don't get absorbed by the negativity. Look away and move forward. As you move forward, remember to park your happy gas. It's a little bit of a getting used to, but they fit. There we go. That was after much practice. This is the edited version of how I got right into the wall, not how I drove into the wall or a pillar over and over and over again. But they fit. They fit. And then see that's just the platform with the beacon pillar. The beacon is, of course, got iron on the inside because I've got lots of free iron resources. And I'm just so glad that the beacon actually works going up through the fountain above. Nice. And then decorated it up. I was thinking the dragon's up above, so this should be like a dragon graveyard trophy hall type idea. So I just put some giant dragon skulls of different designs around. And I wasn't too worried about it because I'm not going to be down here much. It's really a beacon location, so I can beat the dragon repeatedly and dig all the obsidian pillars over and over again. But if you're going to do something, let's make it nice. So there's just a variety of giant dragon heads. And I didn't overdo it and put one on every pillar because it would really suck too if the dragon came down and destroyed my artwork. That would be bad. I'm pretty sure it's safe down here, but I'm gonna find out in another episode. Because the dragon destroys things, got rid of the scaffolding, and just made an obsidian staircase. Man, it's a lot of obsidian, but when you're digging up these pillars, you've got a lot of obsidian to work with. And that just goes all the way up. It's nothing special. Spiral stairs made of obsidian so that the dragon won't destroy it. Ha-ha! Quick and dirty episode. End Dragon Graveyard. Done. And Terracotta Farm. I don't think I'm actually going to do that anymore. Changed my mind on that one. If I need terracotta, I'll just go to the Badlands and get some. Yeah. So still have a few projects on the go. Yeah, call that done as well. And thank you once again for joining me. Quick and dirty, fast episode. Thank you so much. Please hit the button. Bye-bye.